So the webinar today will be about CISOs and maintenance of ISO 27001. But before I actually start, let's just wait maybe a minute for everyone to join. And while we are waiting, let's just see where everyone has joined from. So I'm calling in from Zagreb, from Croatia. And how about you? If you can just let me know through a chat message or through this question and answer pane. So the city where you actually are joining from, just for me to get a better feeling on where all the attendees are coming from. And while I'm waiting for this information, so just a couple of notes. So first, we'll record this webinar, and you'll be able to watch actually this webinar from the same page where you registered for the webinar if you joined through LinkedIn or YouTube. And if you're joining through Zoom, then you will be able to watch the webinar, the recording of the webinar on the same page where you registered. So basically, it will be we will place the recording there, and you'll be able also to download this presentation deck, and I'll explain you how to download the presentation deck at the end of this webinar today. So if you can stick to the end of the webinar, then you'll see how to download it. All right, so yeah, I see actually one input, so from South Africa. Great. Okay, I'm glad that you joined the webinar, and thanks for letting me know. Good. So yeah, let's start then. So welcome to this webinar. It's called CISO's Role in ISMS Maintenance According to ISO 27001. My name is Dejan Kosutic, and I'm the main ISO 27001, but also NIS2 and DORA expert at Advisera. And Advisera is a company that makes compliance easy to understand and simple to use. And this webinar today is streamed through Zoom, but also through LinkedIn live events and through YouTube Live. And it will last approximately 40 to 50 minutes, depending really on the number of questions that you'll have. And yeah, I'll try to make this webinar as interactive as possible. So the more questions you have, the better. And feel free to send them as I go through my presentation, and I'll try to answer these questions as soon as I can. All right. Okay, another input. So Manchester, United Kingdom. Okay, Perth, Australia. Oh, great. From Australia, very different time zone. So thank you for joining. Great. Okay, now let me move forward with the next slide. So why is this topic important? Well, it's important because if your company got certified, then you have these surveillance visits, right? And basically you have to prove to the certification auditor that you have that you are maintaining your ISMS if you want to get if you want to maintain your certification, if you don't want to lose your certificate, right? Obviously also maintenance is important if you, let's say, keep the adequate level of your security in the company. So you basically have at least these two reasons or these are at least two things or reasons why this maintenance is important. So what I'll explain is in today's webinar is how to maintain the ISMS, especially from this perspective of a security manager or any person that is handling security in a company. And yeah, this webinar today is obviously intended for CISOs, so Chief Information Security Officer, or any other professionals who are actually in charge of managing security. So it could be, I don't know, sometimes in smaller companies, CTOs are managing security, whereas in larger companies, typically this is a dedicated role as a security officer or CISO or anything similar to this. All right, so I would say that, I mean, one of the main points today that I'll make in this webinar is that usually this maintenance is associated with some additional effort and with, I would say, very often with some overhead, right? But what I'll actually try to show you is that if you actually plan these activities, I mean, maintenance activities in a, I would say, proper way, then this overhead will be minimal, whereas these benefits of actually not only maintaining compliance but also enhancing your security will be much better. So the key point here is, keeping things planned, not doing them ad hoc, because when you do these things ad hoc, especially in the maintenance phase, then you actually face problems, let's say, and then you actually start thinking, okay, this is something that requires some overhead effort and so on. So again, to avoid these kind of things, you have to plan, and this is exactly what I'll show you in the webinar today. All right, so let me go through the agenda, and by the way, let me know through the chat if you want me to focus more on any of these topics. So if you see some topics that are specifically interesting for you, let me know, and then I'll try to spend more time. Anyway, I'll go through this. I'll explain what is the typical role of a CISO in an ISMS. ISMS stands for Information Security Management System. Then I'll explain what the certification auditor will look for, what kind of, let's say, evidence will he or she be looking for. Then I'll also explain who is actually responsible for maintaining the ISMS. Also, how to deal with people. Sometimes there is a resistance from employees, and I'll explain a couple of, let's say, methods to overcome this problem. I'll also explain this concept of continual improvement, or better to say, how to approach this continual improvement, because this is what I noticed is one of the biggest challenges for companies that are maintaining their ISMS. And I'll also show you how to use some tools to maintain the ISMS in an, I would say, easier way. Okay, so let's go first with this question of what is a typical CISO role in an ISMS, or security officer role in the ISMS. Funnily enough, 27001 does not say anything about it, right? It doesn't even mention CISO, it doesn't even mention security officer, nothing like this. So there is no actually requirement in ISO 27001 to have a central role or a person that manages security. So it simply doesn't exist. It might seem funny, but it is. Obviously, the reason for this is that 27001 wants to be applicable to any kind of a company, and in very small companies, like a couple of employees, it's very hard to have a dedicated person for this. But anyway, this was not my point, but what is the best practice actually to let's say, place a security officer or CISO within an ISMS? First of all, the best practice is that the CISO actually reports directly to someone in the of the senior managers. So let's say to CEO, or perhaps to the CTO. So basically, or CIO. So it's the best actually if there is a direct line of communication between a security officer and someone from the executives. Why is this important? Because obviously then in this case, this security officer can make a better case for security. He or she can get easier access to resources. He or she can get access to, he or she can prioritize security more, and so on. Now, how is the, let's say, what should be this relationship between CISO and other teams in the company? For example, there might be, let's say, a security committee, not in smaller companies, it's usually in bigger companies. Well, if there is a security committee, then this CISO is very often the head of this security committee. So this is usually the position of a CISO. If there is an IT security team, then this IT security team is sometimes actually a part of this security department that is run by this security officer. Sometimes this IT security team is within the IT team, whereas a security officer is completely independent. So there are, various, let's say, combinations on how to position this CISO. The best would be if this CISO is completely independent, especially from IT department, so that the CISO completely, doesn't directly report to anyone from IT department. Again, it would be best if the CISO reports directly to the senior management. Okay, now the other thing is that when speaking about avoiding conflict of interest is that the CISO should not be doing the auditing. So internal audit must be actually someone else from the company, because this is the question I often receive, from companies or CISOs working in companies. Can the same person actually manage security and be the internal auditor? And the answer is definitely no. Why not? Because if the same person would actually audit his or her own work, then it wouldn't really be too objective, and this is why it doesn't really make sense for the same person doing this. So these roles should definitely be separated. So internal auditor and CISO should be two different persons. Now, the question is also how do you document the role of a security officer within the company? And there are various approaches. You could write a job description of this person and then basically document it like this. But my favorite actually approach is that you document the role of a security officer through various security policies and procedures. Starting with the top level security policy, information security or cybersecurity policy, where you define the top level I would say responsibilities of a CISO, and then for each let's say a detailed policy or a procedure, then you actually add some more operational let's say jobs for security officer. For example, I don't know, in incident management procedure, you can say that CISO is responsible for periodically reviewing incidents, let's say once a quarter, so that a company can learn something from them. And by the way, this is also one of the maintenance tasks that I'll explain later on. So again, this combination of top level responsibilities of a CISO in this top level information security policy, and then detailed operational responsibilities in these security policies and procedures. This is, in my view, the best way to document this role. Okay, we'll send you now a couple of links to a couple of articles that might be useful for you. So the first one is what is the job of a Chief Information Security Officer in ISO 27001. You'll see the link shortly in this chat window. And just to mention, if you join this call through Zoom or through YouTube, then you'll be able to click this link and open it right away. If you joined through LinkedIn, then because of some limitations in LinkedIn, you can't really click these links in the chat window. So the workaround for this is that you simply copy this link and paste it into your browser, and then you'll be able to open it. Okay, the second article that we will send you is this article called CISO, where does he belong in an org chart? So this is also something that you'll see now in the chat window. All right, let's move on to the next slide. So let's see now what exactly is a part of this maintenance. So which kind of let's say activities should be part of it. And basically, I'll actually share my screen now with here. Basically, these maintenance activities are related to clauses 6 to 10 from the main part of the standard. So what I'm showing you now is this big guide to ISO 27001 clauses. This is basically an article on Advisera website, but it actually shows you all the clauses from ISO 27001. You can also see the link now in the chat window. You can open it yourself. So clause 4 and 5, not so important for maintenance, but 6 planning is already pretty important, especially when it comes to these information security objectives and basically fulfilling these objectives, also addressing risk assessments when it comes to, let's say, reviewing and so on. Then you have this support clause about resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. I'll go through these items a little bit later on. You will see a couple of bullet points in my slide, but the point is that if you think in terms of clauses in the standard, then this is definitely clauses 6, 7, 8, which is ISMS operation, operating the ISMS. You can also see here there are clauses around information security risk assessment. It also says that you have to review it there. Of course, monitoring, measurement, internal audit, management review, continual improvement. So you'll see all these items are something that I'll go in the presentation. Yeah, okay, what I wanted to mention also is that when you open any of these links, you will see actually details. So, for example, clause internally continual improvement. Here you have the explanation of what it is, which kind of documents you need for it, how to implement it, and what kind of audit evidence is expected. So you can actually see this for each and every clause. Okay, going back to my presentation. One of the things that is expected during this maintenance is this periodic review of documents. So you don't have to review your documents like every month or two, but you should basically review all the security documents that you have at least once a year. This is a kind of a best practice. And to do this, the best thing is really to have that you define for each of these documents document owner. It could be security officer, but it could also be someone else. And for a backup policy, you could have, the owner could be head of IT. Okay, it doesn't have to be a security officer. Anyway, and then this person needs to review this document, let's say every 12 months. And then if needed, this person should update the document with, anything that is, let's say, new or improve the document. Maybe it wasn't written in the best way. Next thing that you have to do is periodic review of incidents. As already mentioned, you should review these incidents. Basically, the best practice is to do it, let's say, every month or every 3 months. So for all the incidents that happened in this last period, you actually try to find if there is any connection between them, because this is the way for you to actually find ways to fix the problems, even though these problems might not be obvious right away. So you might have, let's say, a couple of completely unrelated incidents, but let's say that all these incidents point towards that your employees are, let's say, not trained enough. Okay, so then basically the underlying cause is lack of training. So this is what you actually learn through these periodic reviews. Also, periodic review of security training. So what the standard requires you is to manage these training programs, awareness programs, and you have to see how they perform, if they actually achieve anything, or if they achieve the objectives that you have set. So for example, I don't know, for awareness programs, you could have these awareness videos, and you can test actually if the employees in your company understand what these awareness videos are about. You can measure them through, let's say, testing. Later on, I'll show you one example how this can be done. And then you measure and review. You measure the results and actually review if you are achieving the objectives. For example, you can set the objective that you want. I don't know, 85% of these students to know the right answers to these questions. Regular risk review. Typically this is done once a year or twice a year. You're reviewing your risk assessment and see if, not if, always something changes in the risks. So you'll have always some changes. The question is always, of course, what is the extent of these changes? So you might have, let's say that you identified 100 risks. Typically at least 10 or 15% of these risks will be changed, every 6 months. You might have even 30 or 40% of these risks that will change. Yeah, okay, I forgot. We'll actually be sharing also a couple of resources with you. So we'll share now the link to a YouTube video that I recorded about the ISO 27000 certification. So if you want to learn more what the auditor will be looking at the certification and or the surveillance audits, then you can take a look at this video. Also, there is one article called How to Manage Documents According to ISO 27001. So if you want to learn more about document management, then you can take a look at this article. Also, there is an article how to perform training and awareness for 27001. There you can learn more about that. and also this article called The Complete Guide to ISO 27001 Risk Assessment. So if you want to learn more about risk assessment and risk review, then take a look at this article that we're sending also now. Okay, anyway, another thing that you have to do regularly is this internal audit, at least once a year. For smaller companies, larger companies can do it more often. But once a year, this is a minimum that you have to do, and typically you would perform this internal audit before the management review. And of course, the purpose of the internal audit is to find out if your company is fully compliant with all these policies, procedures, and other things that you have prescribed within your company. We'll send also this a link to this article now. And finally, what you have to do, I mean, not finally, this is not the final one, but the final one on this slide, final activity that you'll see on this slide is this regular management review. Again, management review needs to be done at least once a year, but I would recommend that you do this at least quarterly, because security is a very dynamic, let's say, area, and there are lots of new things happening, and once a year would be kind of too, let's say, you wouldn't really be, I mean, the senior management wouldn't be up to date if they do this management review only once a year. So again, I would recommend at least once every 3 months. Of course, the purpose here is really for senior management to receive all the crucial information about what is happening in ISMS and then make some crucial decisions. So the crucial information could be, let's say, non-conformities, risk assessment results, I don't know, breaches, incidents, these kind of things, and then the decisions this senior management needs to make is around budgeting, around setting the different goals, these kind of things. Okay, you'll see also this article about management review now. Now, what is the point about this slide? The point is that you can actually schedule all of these activities. As you can see, periodic review of documents, review of incidents, you always have some schedule, once every 3 months or once every 6 months or once a year, and you can carefully plan all of these activities. This is good about them because there are no surprises, so to say, when it comes to these activities. However, this is not the whole story. There is this another slide which shows all the other maintenance activities, but unfortunately you can't really plan these activities so nicely. They are more either ad hoc or they are simply continuous. You basically do them every day. So for example, this execution of the risk treatment plan. So risk treatment plan is a mandatory document, and you basically have to where you basically specify which kind of security controls you're going to implement, when and by whom and so on. So basically what the certification auditor will look for is that you actually implement all of these things that you have written there, of course, in the timing that you have specified in this document. Now, ISMS operation, or operating the ISMS, this is basically happening on a daily basis. This is something that, okay, going again back to this backup policy, if you have written in the backup policy that you will perform the backup every 12 hours, well, then this is something that you do, well, twice a day, right? Yeah, this is happening on everyday basis, and this is not only for backup, obviously, this is for all the security activities that you have prescribed. What is important from the certification point of view is that you keep evidence of these activities. Again, example of the backup is very easy because the backup system itself creates automatic logs of these backups, and then it is enough to show to the certification auditor, you can share the screen and show these backup logs, and basically this will be the proof that you are doing the backup according to your backup policy. Okay, then you would have to do this, you would have to create training programs, training materials, training programs, including awareness materials. And this is something that is kind of, that happens also ad hoc. You might have very new risks that you want to address through training. You might have a new technology For example, let's say that you're introducing a completely new IT system which operates completely different from your old one, then you have to train your employees on how to use it, right? It might not be directly related to security, but I mean, IT and security are tightly interrelated. So basically, when you teach your employees how to use a new IT system, you're also teaching them how to use it in a secure way. Yeah, and I mean, company might have different products, different business goals, and usually these products and business goals also have their security angle to them, and then you would have to create training materials for them as well. Of course, you might have new employees that you have to onboard, not only for regular business activities, but also for security, and this is something that is done ad hoc. Then you would need to have, you must handle these non-conformities and corrective actions, because unfortunately these are a regular part of handling a management system like ISMS. And I have a separate slide about this continual improvement and non-conformities corrective actions. But just to explain briefly, so basically non-conformity is basically anything that you notice is not compliant with your own security rules. And then corrective actions is a systematic way to resolve these non-conformities. And we'll also send you now this link towards an article about these corrective actions, and you can read more there. What is also important is this monitoring and measurement, because actually you can't know how is this security performing unless you measure something, unless you monitor. So you'll typically monitor your IT systems and see, let's say, what is their capacity, if there are any, let's say, incidents related to your IT systems, or any, let's say, strange logs happening there. So basically this is what it means to monitor, and measuring is usually against your objectives. So let's say that you have just set the objective that you want to reduce the number of incidents by, let's say, 20% in the next 12 months. In this case, you actually have to measure this and see if you're achieving this particular objective. And yeah, you can. We'll send you now this article which speaks about monitoring and measurement. You also have to communicate, any changes related to security in, I would say, an effective way. So smaller companies do it usually in more informally. You can have, I don't know, like a Slack channel for this, or you could have, I don't know, MS Teams doing this, or you can simply do it through email or through, I don't know, some kind of all hands meeting within the company. Larger companies might have a more formal way of communicating these things. And so you might also have some kind of a communication plan to do this. And we'll also share now this link for how to create this, an article about creating this communication plan. Okay, yeah, so, and unfortunately, this is not kind of the end of this list. So basically, there are many other things that need to happen, let's say, as part of this maintenance. And I was just kind of giving you some examples. I think I covered the most of the things, but still you could have also some other things that you need to do regularly as part of maintaining your ISMS. Okay, I have a question from Ani, and the question is, what is the frequency of the periodic activities? So as I mentioned, this really depends on the periodic activity. So for internal audits, once a year, management review at least once a year, but better every 3 months. A review of risks at least once a year, but better twice a year. Review of documents at least once a year. So it really depends on the activities. You would typically want to do all of these activities at least once a year. But some of them can be done more often. Okay, good. Now let's move on to this slide about continuous improvement. So basically, the standard requires you to perform this continuous improvement. But very often companies don't know really what to do with it and how to achieve it. Before I go into this non-conformities corrective actions, let me just give you an example of continuous improvement. And this is, let's say, with risk assessment. Okay, so let's say that again, initially when you did the risk assessment, you identified only 100 risks, which is perfectly fine for a small company. It's perfectly enough. However, after you got certified and after you started operating your ISMS, then you realize that, there are at least 30 new risks that you did not notice before, that you simply realized exist after your certification. And then you actually added these risks to your risk register. And this is basically continuous improvement, right? You're basically, I would say, continuously thinking about security and thinking about what can I do better? How can I improve, in this case, risk assessment and make it more comprehensive, right? Or let's say that another example of improvements, you notice that let's say you're using I don't know, some kind of let's say face-to-face training in your let's say in a classroom type for let's say for ISO 27001. And then you simply realize that it's not very effective because it's hard to kind of gather all the people in one place at the same time, and it's becoming too expensive, right? And then you simply decide to switch to another system, let's say online system, to do these 27001 trainings. And this is also an improvement, right? So there are many ways actually to improve your security, and the important thing is that you basically try hard and that you really think through, how can you make all of these improvements. And I mean, it's natural to try to do things better, because when you think about it, this is what you do with your core business, right? If you're, I don't know, in recruiting business, then you're always trying to find out ways to find better recruits and connect them with companies that are looking for new employees. And the same is with security here. Okay, now on the formal way, one of the ways to do this continual improvement is to identify non-conformities. Again, non-conformity means that something is not done according to your internal rules. So let's say that you're doing the backup every 24 hours, but if your backup policy says that you have to do the backup every 12 hours, then this is a non-conformity. You're not following your own policy. So this is a non-conformity. Now, there is a big misconception that that non-conformities are raised only during the internal audit. I mean, of course, the internal auditor needs to raise non-conformities whenever he or she finds one, but anyone can raise a non-conformity anytime. And if you kind of raise this security culture that I'll speak in a minute, then you can actually, if you actually introduce this and raise the security culture in your company, then everyone will realize that it's everyone's job actually to improve this security and find non-conformities and notify, let's say, security officer about these non-conformities. Because the more non-conformities you find, the more you will improve your security, and this is what continual improvement is about, right? Okay, after non-conformities are found, then you have to do these corrective actions, and one of the critical elements of corrective actions is to find this root cause, right? So basically, the example that I was mentioning, let's say in the first part of this presentation, was having several incidents and basically not finding directly the cause of them, but actually when you connect them all together, then you actually find that they have the same root cause. Let's say that this could be training. So finding root cause for non-conformities, or by the way also for incidents, is very important, and this is how you raise corrective actions. And corrective actions are, I would say, a formal and structured way to eliminate these root causes. Why? Because you do not want this non-conformity to happen again. This is a crucial objective of doing these corrective actions. So all of these things are possible if you really introduce this security culture in the company, where again, everyone is expected to contribute to a better security. And also this security culture means this no blame culture. Because, you know, if someone actually says that something is not right in with security, you know, then this person might be actually get blamed because he or she found it, or he or she might actually cause it, right? If you have this no blame culture in the company, which is very important a part of security culture, then people will more openly speak about problems, and this is how you uncover problems and resolve them. And also culture of these small improvements, because you don't have to realize there is a huge risk that you're missing. You can do these smaller things because, you know, collectively or cumulatively, these small things will make a big progress towards security. Okay, so I hope that I managed to explain how to achieve this continuous improvement, but in any case, we'll send also this article around how to establish ISO 27001 corrective actions using an online tool. So you'll see how to create corrective actions through this 𝗂𝗶𝗀𝗁 tool, and so I'll also show you this 𝗂𝗂𝗁𝗶𝘀 in a minute. Okay, good. Now let's move on to the next slide, and this is about what CISOs should not delegate, because obviously lots of things, lots of security activities need to be done by other people. But what is it that the main person in charge of security should not give to anyone else? So first of all is, you know, figuring out, you know, what business what is the core business of the company, what are the main strategic objectives of the company, not security, but strategic business objectives of the company, and then how actually security can support these objectives. So let's say that the senior management team has the, let's say, idea to penetrate the market by simply launching a new product. And then CISO should also work with this product development team to see what security features are needed for this product, because, you know, customers in this particular market segment might be very sensitive to security. So security actually becomes and I would say integral part of product development, right? Or let's say that I don't know, senior management decided that they want to penetrate a completely new market segment with an existing product. But that, again, this market segment is very sensitive to security, and therefore this, let's say, I don't know, some security certificate is important for showing that you are secure, right? And then in this case, this could be a very good, let's say, benefit for actually, or trigger to actually go for ISO 27000 certification if the company is not already certified. So what I'm trying to point out here is that the CISO needs to understand these business needs and then figure out how security can help all of these business needs. Okay, another thing that CISO should not delegate is propose these top-level security objectives, because I mean, it's hard to expect from the CEO of the company or CTO to come up with top-level security objectives, and this is why the CISO, knowing both business and security sides, should propose, you know, these top-level objectives. For example, top-level security objective could be, I don't know, the one that I already mentioned, like we want to reduce the number of incidents by 20% in the next year. This is a typical top-level security objective, and it directly kind of covers a larger area of security, but it also directly related to business because it basically, you know, reduces the costs, enhances customer or let's say customer support or customer service. So this is why it's important to have these top-level objectives. Okay, driving security effort. I mean, as you've noticed, there are many activities that need to be performed, or let's say to maintain this ISMS. security officer, if not performing those activities, he or she needs to kind of keep an eye on them and make sure that they're all performed. So for example, I don't know, monitoring and measurement might be done by the tech team, but every now and then CISO should check out if really this is something that is done continuously. Be the main link between senior management and security operations. Yeah, definitely. So whenever senior management has some new ideas, obviously they should go through CISO. And basically, to sum all of these things up, there needs to be a security leader in the company, and this is CISO. So it's important that such a person does exist and that someone is really leading these security activities. Okay, now how to deal with employee resistance. This is very often a challenge that companies have, and I would say that I'm speaking here about resistance towards security, right? When employees are saying, look, this is not our job to deal with security, why are you sending us all of these security policies and procedures, we already have too much to do, these kind of things. So there are basically two methods that you can use. One is awareness and training. The purpose of awareness is to answer the question why. So why is security important? Why, I don't know, is backup important? These kind of things. Training is more about how. So with training, you explain them, okay, how do we perform, I don't know, risk assessment? How do we use, I don't know, MFA, these kind of things, okay? Now, the second thing is that you actually ask relevant people in the company to participate when creating these security rules. So let's say that, I don't know, you're writing a new classification policy, and this classification policy will influence actually how, let's say, your sales team needs to label the documents in terms of, let's say, classification level, right? If this is the fact, then it's better actually to include or to send the draft of these documents to the, let's say, someone who is in charge of sales, head of sales. Right? And then you actually ask this person, look, we're drafting a new classification policy. Take a look, let me know what you think, because, from the sales person perspective, it might or might not be the most appropriate thing to do. And, through this, I would say, exchange of ideas and corrections to these documents, you actually get not only a better document, but you also get a much more committed mid-level management or your colleagues, because they actually participated in the creation of this document, and especially if you accept all of their suggestions. So it's I would say a very, very important way to increase not only the knowledge but also their commitments, and through these things you will also improve all of these processes and documents. So again, if you have this employee resistance, then awareness and training and participation in creation of these documents, I would say these are two most important ways to do it. Okay, we'll send you now this link also for another YouTube video. It's called How to Implement ISO 27000 Training and Awareness in a SaaS company. So it's a video that I recorded, with specific angle, and how SaaS companies and how actually this training and awareness can help resolve some issues specifically for smaller SaaS or tech companies. All right, now let's move on to the next slide. Now let me talk a little bit about tools that can help you with maintenance. Typically there are three types of tools. One are these task management tools. And these task management tools are like Jira or Trello, Asana, Monday, Notion, and so on. And they basically help you list all of the tasks that you have to perform. And they're great, especially if you're a smaller company. Then you can list all of these things that I mentioned in previous slides. You can simply list them as a list of tasks, assign people who have to do them, define frequency. And basically, this is something that you can actually do pretty easily, I would say. The second type of tool that will help you probably is this some kind of a training and awareness platform. And basically these are, let's say, platforms that help actually train and raise awareness of your employees. And I'll show you now this company training academy from Advisera. Basically does exactly this. So basically once you log in into this company training academy, you see a screen like this, and you can actually see lessons library here. There are more than 300 lessons, but you can actually filter them out by the topic. As you can see, there are several topics covered here. Let's say that I want only 27001, and then I click apply filters, and then you will see that there are several videos around 27001. So if you have to train your employees on ISO 27001, then you can actually go for any of these videos here. Let's say, I don't know, key roles in 27001. Then you can see the preview of the video, and then the video will go and basically explain everything that is important there. Okay, good. So basically this is around these videos. You can also go for these cybersecurity awareness, right? If you want to go for, let's say, a wider audience in a company, you don't have to teach them about 27001, but you want to teach them about or make them aware about general cybersecurity, then let's say you have these, basic cybersecurity hygiene or passwords and so on. And basically what is good about here is that you can set up this new training very easily. You simply choose a framework, let's say general cybersecurity. So you want to create a awareness program, let's say for, I don't know, IT employees, or let's say even better, for all the other employees. And then click continue. You define the country, the language, and by the way, there are also other languages, not only English. And then you get already a predefined list of videos that you can actually show to your employees. Let's say that you want to, I don't know, remove some of them. This is possible. You can also, I don't know, rearrange the sequence. And then click next, and then comes actually the best part. You can define how often you want these videos to be displayed to your employees. So let's say you want them to be displayed, I don't know, once per week, or let's say on Thursdays, and that you want to repeat the whole program every 2 years. Then click continue, and then you enter actually the email addresses of these people that should be part of this program. You can of course enter several email addresses here, and then what happens, this training platform starts sending these email notifications once a week or whatever frequency you set, and actually then you can measure if these employees really watch these videos and what was the score. So it's very easy actually to organize training and awareness there. Also, what you might use are these GRC tools. So GRC tools, or governance, risk and compliance tools, are basically specialized software that helps you with particular compliance tasks. And what I'll show you now is another tool from Advisera, and this is the 𝗂𝗶𝗀𝗶𝘀 tool. So basically 𝗂𝗶𝗀𝗶𝘀 is our, let's say, small GRC for smaller companies. And here you have this maintenance module. And basically here you have these recurring activities. It basically lists all the recurring activities and what is the schedule that need to be done and particular tasks that need to be done as part of this maintenance. So we try to actually help companies do these maintenance tasks in a much easier way. Of course, this is not the first thing that you do in 𝗂𝗶𝗀𝗶𝘀. Basically, the first thing is that you implement the standard by following all of these steps. And then you have this audit and evidence module where you basically summarize, not summarize, but you actually have a clear overview of what you're compliant with and what not. And then you can actually fill all the gaps and then go for the certification. But again, after the certification, you come to this maintenance module where you have all of these things summarized. Now, we'll share with you now the links to these tools, so the Company Training Academy and to 𝗂𝗂𝗶𝗀𝗀 software. And basically, for both of these tools, platforms, you can actually sign up for a free trial. So you can, open a free trial account and test out all of the features that I displayed you today. Okay, very good. Now let's move on to the biggest challenges, and then I'll go for the Q&A session. Some of the challenges here are like limited resources such as time, budget, and staff, and this makes it difficult to keep up. So if you plan these activities and if you do not do them ad hoc, then it becomes much easier, and then you don't have to actually, suddenly once a year do everything in a couple of days. Of course, then it becomes a problem if this is the approach. But if you do this continuously, like I mentioned before, then it becomes much easier. And especially if you do these regular operational things like performing the backup regularly, then basically this is not an additional activity. This becomes a regular activity of your IT department. Ensuring that all stakeholders are fulfilling their commitments to align with organizational documents. So yes, this can be a problem if employees and managers do not understand why this security is important. And this is why you have to perform this security awareness. Again, it's mandatory according to the standards, but it also helps you resolve this kind of problems that they simply don't care really about security. Also, this proper planning and responsible people understanding their role in ISMS maintenance. So planning and the responsible people, this is actually a part of this documentation. So if you specify clearly, I don't know, in each every document who is a owner of a document, then it's much clear. Then it's very clear who needs to update this document. Let's say every 12 months, right? And if you keep things clear this way, then you will overcome this problem as well. Okay, another challenge: maintaining the risk assessment. It's difficult to connect them to the risks in the last review period. Well, the best way is actually to take the list of risks that you had in the last period and then simply change some of them. So basically it's the best way really to kind of not to do the whole exercise completely from zero, but basically build upon the last risk assessment. And finally, what used to be well implemented may be gone when new people come. So yes, but this is where actually this onboarding is very important. You have to onboard your new employees not only with, let's say, regular business tasks, but also with these security activities that a new person needs to simply learn. And yeah, when approached like this, then you actually decrease this potential problem. Okay, now let's move on to a short conclusion, and then I'll move on to the Q&A session. So, if you plan this ISMS maintenance properly, and if you actually perform it regularly, then you will definitely invest less time compared to the approach where you do everything in the last second. And on top of this, when maintaining your ISMS regularly, then you get better results. Less incidents, more satisfied employees, and actually the senior management that really sees a strategic value of this security. And of course, you can use tools like this company training academy like 𝗂𝗶𝗀𝗀 to perform this maintenance. And we'll send you also now this link to our expert who will actually show you. So if you want a demo, he will show you how 𝗂𝗂𝗀𝗀𝗀 works, how Company Training Academy works. So feel free to click this link and schedule a call with our product expert. Okay, good. Yeah, let's move on to the Q&A session. Okay, I'll go through your questions now. And yeah, feel free to send any questions and I'll be glad to answer them. And before I start answering your questions, just a couple of notes. So first of all, feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any question. You can use this email address that you'll see on the screen now. Second, you can follow me on YouTube and LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I post regularly latest updates about compliance, cybersecurity, all these kind of topics. So if you want to keep up to date, then please follow me on my LinkedIn profile. And if you want to learn through, let's say, video format, then you can follow me on YouTube, because this is where I post lots of videos. And yeah, I post typically about 27001, but also about NIS2 DORA. I also have some videos for consultants. And speaking of consultants, I also have this Secure and Simple podcast. So if you're a consultant, then this is the right podcast for you, because this is where I actually interview successful consultants so that other consultants can learn from them. And you'll find also the links in the chat window. Okay, good. And what I like to announce is the next webinar. It will be about how to use Conformio to speed up ISO 27001 implementation. So there I'll spend more time showing this Conformio software and what you can actually do with it, and how you can actually reduce the effort when complying with 27001. And you'll see now also the links to upcoming webinars. Okay, good. Now let's see some questions. Let me read 2 questions here. So one is from 𝗵𝗲𝗶𝘀𝘁𝗲. Actually, these are 2 questions from 𝗵𝗲𝗶𝘀𝗁. What risk assessment methodologies should a CISO endorse for ongoing ISMS risk monitoring? How does the CISO ensure asset inventory remains accurate and aligned with the risk register? So with regards to the first question, there is no really big, I would say, methodology behind this risk monitoring. Basically, on one hand, you actually have to take your risk register and simply go through all of these risks and see if the assets are up to date, if the vulnerabilities are up to date, if the threats are up to date. On the other hand, you actually have to take a look at your incidents that happened in the last period and see what kind of incidents are not, what kind of risks related to these incidents are not included in your risk assessment. And a third thing, you have to take into account all the new processes in your company, all the new, let's say, products, all the new technologies. And if these are not already included, then include them in risk assessment as well. So basically, this is a kind of easy approach to do this risk risk review. Okay, second question was how to ensure asset inventory remains accurate. The best thing is, whenever you have a new asset, is to assign asset owner, okay? And then this asset owner has the responsibility to notify whoever is in charge of this asset register. You might have, let's say, asset register or inventory of assets or something like this. And you might have a person in charge of this asset register. So whenever asset owner has a new asset, then basically this person needs to notify the owner of the asset register, and then this is how you actually keep these asset inventories up to date. Okay, another question that came in, not really related to maintenance. So from Sanjeev, can you guide me how I can gain experience in ISMS auditing, because my current organization is not willing to be in compliance with 27001? Well, basically, I would say that, okay, it's not really clear whether this is a question around internal audits or certification audits, but let's say this is about internal audits. And typically, you have, let's say, consultants who do internal audits, and then they actually do this for other companies. And this is a very good, I would say, business. And yeah, if you want, you can offer your services as a consultant, and then find clients who need this kind of internal audit, especially if you do have, let's say, lead auditor certificate or internal auditor certificate. Okay, a question from Sergio. Do you have a checklist document to make sure we meet all the requirements? Yeah, I mean, you can take a look at what is written there in Conformio. This is a kind of a checklist. If you go for this module, you will see all these activities. Other than this, I don't think we have, by the way, yes, we have this article which speaks about maintenance. I'm not sure if we've sent this link to this article. So if not, actually, we'll send again this link to this article that speaks about maintenance. You can also see a list of these activities in this article. So you'll see this link to this article about maintenance in a couple of seconds in the chat window. Okay, good. I think these are all the questions. So let's wrap up the webinar. So just a few words before I finish. So as I mentioned, this webinar today was intended really to give you an overview of these maintenance activities and the role of the CISO. And really the purpose was not really to go into details of implementation or risk assessment or I don't know controls, but to learn more about these things, take a look at these articles that we've sent you and videos. But you can also sign up for this training academy and for 𝗂𝗲𝗶𝘀 to see how they work and how they can help you with maintenance. Okay, regarding the presentation deck, in about 10 minutes we'll publish the link to this PDF presentation deck on the same page where you're watching the webinar now if you joined through LinkedIn or YouTube. So what you should do is simply keep this tab open in your browser, and then in about 10 minutes you will see in the comments section you will see the links not only to this presentation deck but also links of all the links for all the other things that I mentioned today. So if you didn't catch any of these links that we shared through chat, then you will be able also to see it in this comment section. If you join the webinar through Zoom, then we will send you all these links, including this PDF presentation deck through email, and you'll receive it latest by tomorrow morning. Okay, finally you'll see also a link to a short survey. So it's only very short, only 3 questions, and it will help me a lot if you fill this out, because then I have a much better feeling on how I did in the webinar today. So I would appreciate if you fill this out. And this would be all. Thank you very much for your participation, and I hope you have